Okay, I want to go through some basics of converting a video for playing on the web. So right here what I've got is a video. This is my original video, and you'll notice what the size is. And this of the file, 650 meg. Well, it's 650 meg. It's going to take, first of all, a long time to upload, and it's going to take a significant amount of time to also download for playing. The larger the file size, longer it's going to take. If we look at this video, this original video, and go down and look at our properties on it, you'll see it was recorded at 1440 and 1080. That's how it was originally rendered, at 29 frames a second. So I've taken this same file and web optimized it, in this case at 1440. And it's reduced the size somewhat, but not significantly. Where you'll see the most significant difference is changing the dimensions of it. So this is rendered at 1024 variable bitrate. This was rendered at 1024 with a fixed 30 frames. And you'll notice there's a slight difference there, but nothing significant, nothing to worry about there. And this was rendered at 720. So if you go from 720 to the original of 650, that's a huge difference. So this file is going to load and start playing much faster. So that's the first thing we want to be aware of. 720 is probably sufficient for probably 95% of the videos that are going to be out there that you're going to want to play off of the web. So to do these conversions, we're going to go over to this website, handbrake.fr, and we're going to download their free utility called Handbrake. And once you've downloaded that and started that up, you're going to get a little application here. And this is the Handbrake application. It's actually a pretty decent application. So first of all, across the top, you can specify the source. You start your cues, do previews. You've also got devices that you can go to. Then you've got presets down here, and then you also have user presets. So to go through what we're going to do, the first thing you want to do is probably go into Tools and Options. And under Tool Options, you're going to have General. Obviously, check for daily and what you want to have done. The output files. So in the output files, here's what I change. I turn on the automatically name. I set my default path to be source path. And then I give it a name that I want it to be. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this source-720. So it's going to be the name of the file, which is the source, and then I'm going to put a -720 because I'm going to render this in 700 resolution of 720 lines. Also down here, I'm just going to select always use MP4 because MPV may or may not play on various devices. So I'm always going to use MP4. And there's some other things that you can do here, which I'm not going to get into right now. So make sure you click on close down here, because if you go up here and click close, you'll lose all your settings. But if you click close here, it'll save the settings. So we have those settings saved. Now the other thing that you can do is once you have all of your settings defined, you can come over and do a preset. So I'm going to add a preset just to show you how this works, and I'm just going to say test preset. Okay. I'll leave the max picture size, or you can say custom, and you can go down here and put in your custom, but I'm just going to leave it at none and save the video filter settings, and I can say this is a test preset and say add. When you add that, that's now put down here for in your presets, and there's now a setting called test preset. So anytime I want to set these things, I can do a test preset. I can come up here and click universal, and it will change my settings over here for universal or iPod or whatever it happens to be. So I got all these different presets that I can have. But in general, normally what I'm going to use is either normal or I'll go down for a specific preset. So in this case, I'll do 720, and then I'll go up and add a file. So for my source, I can either um, add in an entire folder. So this would be like a folder watch. I can add a specific file, or I can search for part of a title. So if I've got a lot of files within a folder and I want it to be a specific title, I can scan for that specific title. In this case, I'm just going to open a folder here, or open a file, and I'm going to choose this original and say open, scans the title, and you'll notice it fills in now the information. It says the title is title number 1, that's the title of it. How many chapters, how we're going to break it out. If you had chapters in here, it would show you all your chapters. Then it gives you destination, and if you look here, you'll see the destination is automatically prepended or appended with the original file name -720, and that's because I've chose the 720 settings down here. Oh, one thing I want to make sure you do is check is to web optimize. What that's going to do is that's going to put on the proper headers to allow progressive scanning to happen. Now, one of the things I notice here is my width down here is 1024, and I've got a preset here of 720. Well, 720 should be 720 over here on my width. So I'm going to change this to be 720. If you want to make sure that this is always going to 720 over here for your width, and it automatically calculates the aspect ratio from your source settings. But if you want to make sure that this stays at 720, when you go to select a preset, so you see here, like if I go down to press test preset, it's not changing my width or anything over here as I'm going around, but if I do a 720 web, it does. The difference is the setting that I skipped earlier. So if I go to test preset, and let's just go ahead and add, and I'm just going to do an add of 1080 1080 web, and over here for the max picture size, I'm going to say custom, and I'm going to go 1080, and I believe right here I'm just going to leave this as blank and save the video filter and say add. Okay, now I've got a 1080 web. Now if I happen to go to any place else and I click on this, it automatically sets my width there. So in this case I'm going to do 720. And those are some of the settings that you have to have. So again, make sure web optimized is on. 720 is your setting, and there's really nothing else that you have to do here if you're just using those presets. It should work just fine. One of the settings we'll go play around with here just to see what it does is we'll go to video, and for the frame rate, instead of saying same as source and VBR, variable frame rate, I'm going to go up here, select same as source. I'm going to select our maximum of 30. That's what we want, and say peak frame rate. And that's what we'll go ahead and render this thing at. So once we have this defined, I'm going to say this is 720-30 VBR. Okay, so VFR. And then we'll just go ahead and say start. And as it's going, you'll see it down here at the bottom. You can also show the queue, and it'll show you what's happening in the queue. And now at this point, you can go add others. You can go up, add a whole folder, whatever. And when it's done, it will come back. So I'll come back when we're all finished. Okay, the job is finished. Shows up in here in the queue. It's got a green check mark. Everything looked okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to that folder. So if we look here, here's the folder. and the video that was just created, and you'll notice the size 148,089, which is the same as this one that I created earlier, same size. So the variable frame rate, when I set that, is about the same because the source was a variable frame rate also. So then this file is ready to upload to where we need to put it, whether it's S3 or website or whatever. One other thing you'll notice, it does have a capital H in here if you don't want those capitals to come in, which some people like to put a capital there because it's case sensitive when it's put on the web. But if you don't want, and so putting the capital letter makes it a little bit harder for people to just find. But if you just want to make it simple, not have the capital H, come back to your settings in Handbrake and go to Options and Output and uncheck the change case to title case.